You guys want to have a Kickstart competition? I'm Matt from SugarBaby Cycles. This is our new shop. This is our break room you guys are in. We don't have a lot of product here, but this is generally where all our merch and our product ends up before we ship it to you guys. So where we have our lunch, we do all of our sort of business-oriented kind of stuff. If you guys watched our last video, we were kind of in the middle of building this bike. This was Space Bugs. We showed it at Born Free 15, I want to say it was.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago, man. That goes it does go super fast. And that was a tough bike to build. So I'll take you guys out of here. There's not much to see here. We'll kind of get into the rest of the shop and show you guys some of the equipment. So this is our general kind of fab room. Now our past shop was just one full building, and it's cool. You know, you can get a forklift in it. You have one single room, but it was kind of nice when we came and we moved into this building. It's all broken up into different spaces. So it kind of lets us kind of keep each department a little separate. We have a machine room, we have a fab room, we have a motor room, and we have a sheet metal room that's still kind of getting put together. So in here, we're generally doing welding assemblies, general fab, got cutting tools, grinding tools.
You guys put a lot of work in this shop, huh, when you first came?
Yeah, man, it was originally it was a guitar shop. So when we came in, this was completely set up differently. We painted the ceilings, the walls, epoxied the floors, we put all these lights in, we ran power, we ran air. You know, we just felt like it was time to really kind of level up in the shop game. More professional, keep it clean. You know, people don't want to be bringing their stuff in and just kind of having, you know, parts floating around, dust on the tables. It's like, I'm not saying that's not where quality work gets done, but when you bring stuff here, you know, we're not losing stuff. We're not messing your parts up,
Yeah.
You know.
Now everything has a dedicated room pretty much.
Yeah, no, it's really nice, you know. So I mean, it just even just like, little situations, like if you're building your own shop, sometimes like storage and stuff is the last thing you're thinking of. I mean, this is what makes your space, like this is how you can bring a job in every day, put your tools away at night. You know, that's what like customers want to see. Yeah. And I mean, not even just customers, what we want to see. Yeah. We'll probably go over some more bikes later, but this is an interesting one. This is Drake Foxworthy's Turbo FXR. So he's pulling off, he builds titanium headers. So this turbo system is completely built by him from scratch. So he's put in a crank sensor into this Evo. The whole bike is controlled by an ECU, which from the factory it wasn't. He built this intercooler, everything is custom by him. I think what keeps happening is he keeps cracking his titanium header. So he's building another one to be able to handle the power that it makes. Well, we'll take you guys into the machine room. So this is definitely like the biggest purchase that we've made in the last couple of years is buying into the CNC equipment. Most of the equipment that we had in the last shop is actually still there. You know, the cost of moving equipment is sometimes even more than the
machine itself, huh?
Yeah, the machine itself, exactly. This is kind of one of these things where we felt like we were way over our heads when we bought the machine. So you almost kind of wish you buy a bigger machine. But this has really helped us kind of make some moves in the last 2 years since we saw you. It completely changes the game. You know, we can.
Yeah, this is how you level up too.
Yeah, I mean it's not only you making like higher quality parts. We can make you 100 parts and they're all exactly the same. I mean, make 1,000 parts and they're all exactly the same. But it's kind of like hiring another person, but the person doesn't get tired. I mean, the machine can run 8 hours a day, can run 10 hours a day. Graham has completely handled the setup of the machine, learned programming, learned CAD for us to be able to kind of bring our products to the next level. I mean, manual machining is cool, and I still, it's neat to see people produce parts manually, and it kind of has something about the bike culture, has a sort of manual vintage side to it, but realistically, like modern roads, modern speed, like it's just not up to par.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have.
You can't scale.
Yeah, and you can't scale. Yeah, these are all new machines. This is kind of cool. People are here for the bikes, but we really just like machines. This one's all powered. Power feed Y and X and Z. Nobody cares, but that's what I like. We've got a Sharp 16x40. This is a pretty basic lathe, but I like it, does the trick.
So how did you guys get this machine in here?
Well, all this wall you see that doesn't match, that all had to come out for us to get the machine in. Yeah, that's the kind of con. All the different rooms is really nice. You know, you're making chips in one room, but you've got motors built in the other. It's super nice, but then when you got to get tools that are bigger than doorways in, then you kind of got some problems. But what was the quote, Graham, for when we we went to, so like we were looking for a machine, we couldn't afford a machine, and we got to buy a used machine. And one day we just this machine popped up, we got to have this one. This has got to be it. Half the price of all the other ones, super low hours. You know, they count all their hours so you can tell how long they've been used. And so Graham and I were like, okay, let's get it. We go and we pay the guy. We're taking this machine home. Not today, but we want to take the machine home, and we called a rigging company. The people who lift heavy machinery, and it was it's like 10 grand to move the machine for one day. So I mean, we've moved some stuff, so we just rented a truck and we rented some forklifts, and I would say
I mean, it was one of those things that everybody told us, do not try to move it yourself. You can't do that, you're gonna ruin it. And we were like, yeah, but we also don't have $10,000, so
it was we kept going. We go to a machine shop and we would say hey, look, you know, we want to move this machine. Do you have any recommendations? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. Do not move it yourself. And we're like, sick. But you know, the machine's not as heavy as it looks. I think it's about 6,000 pounds. You know, most of this is just sheet metal. In reality, actually, this is kind of an interesting thing. Once again, you guys like bikes, you don't like tools, but this machine and that machine are almost identical. It's just that this one has a shroud around it. I mean, obviously this is all computerized, but the actual castings of the machine are super similar. So when you're lifting a machine like this, it just kind of gets tricky because the mass of it kind of throws off how, you know, where you think you're lifting from and whatever else.
kind of like Matt was saying, this machine has been really my general focus for the last, I don't know, 8 months or so, which was a pretty strange endeavor to get into, not formally trained or, we didn't go to school for this, but started learning some design stuff with CAD software and got the machine and have been producing pretty much all of our parts on there since we got it. So we produce all the super clutches, we produce the high flows, and then most recently we're making the brake shoes on the machine. And so all the brake shoes get cast at a really high quality steel foundry, and then we bring them here and we do all of the machining to cut out the contours for mounting and for the pivot points, and then we use the manual lathe to cut the outer radius that holds the linings. So definitely a big learning curve, not coming from the automated machining world. We pretty much made everything by hand on manual machines before this, but now that we've got this machine, it's like the focus has entirely changed. Through our own testing and through feedback that we've gotten so far, we're definitely really happy with the way these brake shoes have turned out. But it's a whole different world. I mean, we've made aluminum motorcycle parts up until this point, and relearning everything we know about cutting and shaping and fitting and like working with cast irons, a completely new medium. It's dirty, and we have to make sure the air is circulated properly in here, and we have to make sure, you know, not breaking too many tools.
Yeah. I mean, people knew us from aluminum casting. Like early on, we just did aluminum casting. Steel casting is like it's entirely different. There's nothing similar between the two. I mean, for us to get our own, that was something cool. I mean, we thought for a year or for a couple of years, you know, how are we gonna offer people a shoe like this? And eventually got to the point where like we put our own logo on the shoe. Like we just recreated an OEM shoe. I mean, that was like a freaking nightmare.
So are these available on your site yet, or?
Sort of. I mean, by the time the video comes out,
Oh, nice.
probably.
Okay.
I mean, you know, right now we're just kind of looking through some stuff that's moving through the shop.
Because the video come out tomorrow.
Oh, the video comes out tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. But I mean, you know, we're essentially set up. You know, we have all our prototyping's been done. We've got shoes that are getting sent down to LA.
Yeah. Do you guys do like pre-orders or just straight up on?
We do pre-orders. I mean, the thing about pre-orders for us is that we don't like to hold on to pre-orders for a long time. So if we're doing a pre-order, we try to move it within 10 days, 14 days.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You know, I mean, we're not like the kind of business that wants to do like a month or 2 month long pre-orders.
We're definitely going to set up a pre-order situation, but we've got to get enough produced that once we open for pre-orders, we can fulfill those.
And then there's one more step, because after the shoes get processed here machine-wise and they get sent down to LA, you know, part of the reason the shoes work so well is that we went and bought lining materials for the shoes that, you know, and this, I could spend the whole rest of the video just talking about the lining material. I won't. But I'm saying that when you look at our shoes versus other people's shoes, you'll see there's no rivets. And part of that's just like material science is caught up. You know, in the past, like an OEM shoe or like right now, like an import shoe you buy has rivets to keep the pad adhered essentially to the shoe itself.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, if you buy if you have a car and you like a modern car, you know, with rear drum brakes, they do not come with rivets. Rivets create this total weak spot in the lining material. Adhesives that we can bind the lining to the shoe have completely different than they were.
Nice.
20, 40, 60, you know, when these shoes came out from the factory. So not only are the rivets different, but the material, the lining material is completely different. I mean, when you're buying a shoe, once again, they're predominantly import shoes. They're made with materials that are intended for hydraulic brakes. It's essentially people buying the cheapest possible material. You know, if you're buying a material from overseas, you're buying the cheapest possible material. It's for a consumer car or something of the sort. You know, when we're building mechanical brakes, we're looking for a significantly softer pad material. The hard pad material, it cracks, it breaks, it glazes over, because it's used to having hydraulic pressure. I mean, like, you know, thousands of pounds of hydraulic pressure engaging the shoes with the drum. So, you know, when we started looking into, hey, how can we make a mechanical brake that actually works? It was all like, we got to go back to different linings. I mean, every lining, the lining every single other, you know, shoe manufacturer shop is using, they're incorrect. They'd be great for your car. If you're driving a Toyota to work, that's what they're intended for. But for us, the lining is what really makes a difference. So what happens after they get machined here is that they get shipped down to LA and they get handled by a vintage shoe liner. That's all they do. They don't do anything else. They line shoes for vintage.
Specialists, pretty much. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, that's like so really like that's what you feel when you install these shoes and you say this breaks differently than anything else. It's the casting set us up, and the linings are what you really feel.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Anything else in this room?
Not particularly. I mean,
Make the machine go up and down some more.
we're
You can see like the wood dust from the guitar shop too, right?
yeah. So we cleaned as well as we could when we moved in.
But this is the room we did first, so we didn't clean it as well.
Yeah. Well, and this is the only room that got this different
Epoxy.
flooring. Yeah.
We thought black epoxy was cool. It's nice for a machine room because every chip shows up on the floor.
Oh, that's true.
So that way you gotta really clean at the end of the day. We've only been here a year, so there's still some work in progress. Actually, it's not even been a year, but there's still some work in progress. So this would be the 4th room. This will eventually expand into sort of a sheet metal room. Currently, it's kind of used to store all the stuff that we don't know where to put. You're buying tools, and in a couple of years, you realize you don't even use them anymore.
Yeah.
So we won't stay in here too long. Got a shear, brake, roller. We don't do a ton of sheet metal, but we do work with, we do occasionally.
You don't want to tell about your frame?
Well,
This is your shovel, right?
yeah, so this is, the pan shovel has been apart for the better part of the year. I had a baby, the shop came into our lives. I mean,
Big things.
yeah, big things. We're competing in shows again, so
Nice.
this is all high fill primer. I'm not actually painting my bike like a Dijon mustard color.
What are you building this for?
Why am I building it, or just what am I building it for? This-
So,
No, this one's not for a show. It's just my personal bike. Yeah, no, this is just my personal bike. This is the one I took to EDR. In the EDR, I blew up that motor, not in EDR, but right when I came out of it, that motor got rebuilt into Space Bugs, the show bike, actually. So that thing came a long ways. All right, so this is our sort of motor room situation. There's a lot to look at in here. The last few years, we've been moving a lot more motors through the shop. It's hard to say in the future if we'll do more or less, but there's really becoming sort of a shortage of places to bring a motor, especially to, we do full crank up, everything, head work, case welding and repair, performance stuff, the things that we know how to do. Every time we try to get away from it, actually, somebody else brings us something that we can't turn down. So, this is a customer, this is big bore, this is, I want to say, something like a high 80s or 90-inch motor that's getting built. This is a 90-inch motor getting built. This is sort of a show project that's getting put together. This is pretty close. We're just waiting on a couple little parts.
You got this really sick polished L carb going on it. Came out really nice.
You're kind of going for, this is an interesting one. These are the first set of aluminum cylinders that we've worked with. So a standard shovel, this is a 68, would have come with a stock cast iron cylinders, so those are made by Speed and Science. So this is sort of a lot of stock components, but kind of get something kind of new going on. This is our honing machine, so we do cylinders, all sorts of different equipment and on here. And then this one will probably, maybe in a couple of years, we'll see you after we finish this one. It's going to be a supercharged knuckle. So right now nothing's hooked up. We're just sort of getting some lines together. The difficulty with superchargers is that, like a turbocharger, you have it run off the exhaust, right? And exhaust is easy to build. So you don't need any sort of, system to drive a supercharger, or excuse me, a turbocharger. And a supercharger has a whole gear drive, and it essentially runs. For us, it's going to run off the generator, but essentially means that you have to get a line between a drive shaft on the motor to spin. Let's see if we can get the spin, yeah. To spin the supercharger in order to, compress fuel air into the motor.
Yeah.
The cool thing about supercharging some of these motors is that Harleys are super inefficient about filling combustion chamber. So people will kind of look at this and go, man, why would you be supercharging a knucklehead? You're like, okay, well, maybe we blow it up. But part of the problem with a lot of these older motors is that at the time, we didn't have an understanding of how, combustion efficiency worked. And so, you know, the ports are like, you're ramming air through these crazy tunnels to get into the combustion chamber. And so what you end up with is a motor that's super inefficient. You know, it's not necessarily the internal parts of the motor are so inefficient, it's just that we cannot get fuel and air into the motor to combust, and that's what makes us power. So, you know, one way to do it is you take a head and you port the heads and you shape things, and that's essentially allowing the motor to breathe in air more efficiently. If you say, look, there's nothing we can do about getting this motor to breathe all that more efficiently, then you start blowing air in. And so once you start blowing air into the motor, all the features, you know, your valves, your intakes, everything, it starts to, it's not nearly as important because you're essentially able to blow 100% of the air in the fuel as the cylinders can take in with, you know, regardless of how big the valve is or how big the intake chamber is. So, you know, you might kind of laugh at supercharging a knuckle, but it's probably the most efficient way that we can make it we can get it to actually make you know, more like modern power. Yeah, these are customer bikes. We try not to take in full bikes. If you watch this video and you think about bringing your full bike in, we don't really like to take the full bikes. Actually, I can show you how our sort of quoting system works a little bit if people are interested. Yeah. You know, so let's see how we would do this. We take in motors, full basket case, complete motor, whatever it is. We really prefer, and a lot of engine builders will prefer for you to take the motor out. Yeah. I mean, for us, a shop like this, like we're not employing people who are just like wrenching on stuff. So when I have to take your motor out of your bike, it's the same cost of me taking the motor out as it is when we're machining your parts, you know? So it's a lot more efficient for you to take a motor out, bring it to us, we can clean it, we can disassemble it. It's another thing, if you're wondering about disassembling your motor before, we rather disassemble the motor. It gives us a chance to kind of look through all the different components, see how everything's fitting. I mean, most of the time when we're finding an issue is when we're disassembling the motor. So it doesn't save you a lot of money. It gives us a harder time if you decide to disassemble. So you bring it in, you bring the motor in. The first thing that we do is something like this. We do an estimate. And this would just be like all the parts that we see that we want to replace, a lot of the machine services that we want to do, and that goes into an email. So this is all cost-free at this point. You don't have to accept the quote. You don't have to accept the work. You get an email with all the parts you want to buy, all the services that we want to do, and then whether you want us to assemble or tune or whatever else it is. So then your motor kind of goes through one of these stages where it's been fully broken down. Nothing in it. We're ordering parts for this. You know, on these shelves here, what we have is generally either throwaway parts from motors. You know, a lot of these motors come in with just like completely blown gear sets. I mean, let's see if we can find. Yeah, I mean, just like, this is not what your piston should look like. Yeah, completely cracked and blown oil pump. So this all goes back to the customer if they want it. Put it on your mantelpiece. We'll reorder parts. You know, you approve the quote, we order parts, and it kind of comes down, I mean, almost kind of like this, you know, we'll build the bottom end first, fully rebuild the crank, move on. I mean, this obviously has a lot of like polish and show work done to it. But, you know, we do a lot of motors too that are just for everyday riding, you know.
Is there a wait time for motor rebuild right now, or?
There is. It kind of depends. We're in a pretty busy season right now, so you say, Rajiv, it's like a couple months. It kind of depends too. You know, what we also want to get into with people is like, you know, trying to get people to understand that, you know, they can do a lot of the work themselves, you know, and I mean that, you know, it can be tough, you know, it can be a little bit problematic, but what we try to do too is assemble all the components that need specialty tools. You know, I mean, these motors don't just get rebuilt here. I mean, these cases will go into the machine room, they'll get fully remachined, the valve seats will get cut, we'll line bore the cases, we hone the cylinders. You know, that's kind of work that you don't want to do at home because you don't have the equipment. So when we re-machine all these parts, we're also trying to push, not necessarily these customers, but people to say, hey, send us your heads or send us your bottom end. You know, we can fully rebuild your crank, line hone, get you a perfect, you know, refurbished bottom end. And then at home, you can put your cylinders on, you can put your heads on. That can save you a lot of money. You know, we don't want to have you do something wrong, but we're also here if you want to call us, you want to email us. I mean, unfortunately, we are in this business because we like to do it. It's not really...
On the other hand, if you just need a top end, you can just take that off your motor, send it to us. We'll break it down just like we break down anything else and go through the full process. Cut new valve seats, replace valve guides if they need replacing, hone those out, and just get it totally functional, totally brand new.
And ship them back.
Yeah, nice.
You know, there's a lot of people obviously watching that aren't in the sort of San Francisco Bay Area or Northern California area, you know, so we do take jobs like that, you know, shipping stuff and we ship it back. You guys want to talk bikes?
Can we talk about some bikes?
Let's talk about the bikes.
You talk about your bike at all?
We did a little bit. We told them we were getting into the FXR world one of these days. So everybody wanted.
How does the crank sensor work on that? I've actually,
you know, I
never gotten into it.
have no idea.
You gotta ask Drake.
You gotta ask Drake. Yeah, Drake is the
But
man.
he built that system from like scratch.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That like it's because it's all like he's got a throttle body and an injection and a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really understand. So I believe this is off like an Audi or something. Yeah. Well, he builds turbo systems for a living, so he would know better than we do.
So for a quick question for you guys. So the last video we did was about 2 years ago.
Sure.
And we're 2 years now. And then what do you guys see yourself in 2 years? In terms of like making chopper parts still or expanding to different bikes or, you know, car, hot rod stuff, you know? What's the future for the shop?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I think that from a shop side of things, like choppers are hard, man. Like it takes way, and I don't want to say this for people that build Evos, but like, or, you know, twin cams or whatever else. Like, I mean, some of these bikes are 60, 70 years old. I mean, they need everything. I mean, they need weld repairs. They need all the races, you know, remachined and straightened. And I mean, it's just like to make money off building a platform like that is tough. I mean, it's at the end of the day, like we still do that work, or we do that work just purely for the fact that we just like the bikes. I mean, there's a lot more profitable machine projects out there than building, you know, panheads and shovel heads. Yeah. Part of the reason this shop looks differently is because like motors come here and like this is a day at work. I mean, and it's a long day at work, you know. So I kind of hate to say it, like we love it, and I kind of can't see us stop doing it. But I also could see us getting some modern bike sides of things, and you know, realistically, we make most of our money off parts. So, you know, brakes, we're very proud of the brakes, and I think we're going to also sort of pivot the business into a slightly new direction of kind of selling people. We're going to offer all the different parts that you need to sort of build the more complicated assemblies for your vintage bikes, you know.
We're aiming for a modern solution to spending 4 days on a forum and then ordering the wrong parts.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. There's just, yeah, I mean, a lot of the bigger companies have gotten out of this scene. I mean, you know, I mean, that just people aren't making quality stuff anymore, so you're stuck buying things that don't fit.
People getting into choppers find out quickly is that you order parts and they never fit. You always have to mess with it. Yeah. And there's not anything like that comparable in like the rest of like your life in like the modern economy.
I got a question for you. You're the newest member here. How did you get here? And you know,
well, it's your fault because I saw your video 2 years ago, and I had known about them for a while, but just I was like, this is sick, the way they build bikes, the ethos around it, and they're the only ones making performance parts for old bikes at like this scale. And so I'd been working in journalism and podcasting for like 5-10 years, and lost my job like earlier this year, and as soon as that happened, I just hit them up on Instagram cold. I don't think I had talked to either of you before that. Yeah, and I was like, let me come work for you guys.
It's just straight out of like, just a message being like, hey, I'll work for you like I'll move here and I'll work right away. And we were kind of like, nah, like that's like, I don't even know this guy. But then some people we knew you. And we were like, oh, fuck, like, Graham and I always just said like it wasn't like this super slow burn thing. Like Graham lost his job and we were just like, this is it. Like this either works now or like we don't do this. We go get jobs and this becomes a hobby thing. And we always kind of was like, if somebody else ever came to us in that regard of just being like, I'm all in, no rationale, just like, I'm here to do it. And we just said like, okay, we'll give it a shot. Yeah. So then Rajiv actually does it and we're like, oh man.
Oh shit.
Well, we told him, we were like, Matt and I kind of sat down. We were like, this is, I mean, we've gotten other messages like that in the past, but this one was like, very serious. Like I will move there. I'll move there now. Yeah, I'll make my wife move there. Like, and we were like, well, yeah, maybe come up for a weekend and like we'll hang out and we'll get dinner and like I don't know. Get
accidentally ordered the biggest beer at the Mallard.
Get a couple beers and make sure something crazy. But
how's it so far? Is it everything you?
It's so.
way worse.
It sucks. Before I came here, I'd never torn apart a motor below the top end. I mean, I just like kind of disassembled and reassembled, never done any machine work, never touched a lathe, a mill, none of that. I come in day one and Matt's got me in the shop just like honing cylinders on the sun end. And it's just kind of been like that ever since, where I'm learning how to do all the stuff I've ever wanted to do on a bike. I mean, the motor we're gonna go take a look at on my bike. I remember like sketching out my plan for this motor a year ago and like looking at it and being like, if I sent this out to machine shops, it'd be a $10,000 motor. And we just busted ass in here for like 6 months, made it happen. I mean, did some crazy stuff, put like an 84 shovel head flywheel in an old generator case.
They're not supposed to go in there.
They're happy. They're happy now.
Rajiv made it happen.
I cut my cylinders down 1/8 of an inch to get a point of compression. Went a little too far, so I had to cut the pistons down too. And we drilled external oil lines for the heads to drain straight into the crankcase. Just all this like fun stuff that I'd seen on other bikes that I was just like, oh, I'll never be able to do that. And I come here and they're like, yeah, let's give it a shot. So I'm here because I believe in this place. And
And you're full-time here, right?
Yep.
Wow.
You can see them getting uncomfortable as I like give them praise.
Yeah.
They hate it.
Yeah, focus on Graham's face.
It is my favorite party trick to compliment them and just watch them just immediately stare at their feet.
That's sick, man.
It feels like it's like this doesn't happen in this generation anymore.
It's a little vortex in here. Like this has literally been 3 years of every day we come in and we're like, how the fuck is this gonna work? And then we come in the next day. Like there's like literally, I mean, we've got plans and we stand by our stuff and like we're in here long term, but it's just like, I mean, Rajiv showed up and it was like, all right, this could be the right fit. Like you're just down with whatever needs to happen in here because that's how it works here. Like there's no like we don't have jobs. I mean, we got motor jobs lined up, we got products selling, but it's every day. It's just, we sit down and we figure out how to make this move forward. Like there's nothing else to it. There's nothing to like steer us anywhere, which just makes this like, I mean, I don't even know where the time is gone. Like, I don't even know.
Maybe you're looking at it.
I don't know. I'm looking around being like, how the hell, like, where do we even like get this place?
When did you paint the ceiling?
Yeah, why do we paint the ceiling? Exactly.
I remember painting the ceiling.
You guys want to have a Kickstart competition?
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I demonetize
But it's like,
this?
it's not per kick. It's just as fast as you can move right now.
Let's go! Let's go! Pretty good. Hey, put her there. she performs when she needs to.
Nobody can see the super clutches. It's just spinning around like crazy.
Yeah, I had a cone shovel. So the top end from that cone shovel is on right now. Yeah, and the flywheels. And I got the cases sitting on the floor in the garage.
What color is this?
This is a 90s Porsche color called Cassie Red. Yeah, I was like freaking out about what color to do for a long time. It was between this and neon orange, and I think I made the right call.
Nice. What the hell is this thing?
That is a oil filter. And I was thinking just with all the fins, it would also act as a bit of a cooler.
Yeah.
It's like a 9.5 point compression motor, so I think it should generate a little more heat than a stock motor. So I converted this tank to be totally boxed in, so it holds about 5 quarts, and it runs through the cooler. So now my bigger worry is that I never reach operating temperature.
Oh.
Yeah, late shovel head flywheels, so we had to convert it to end oiling on the pinion shaft instead of side oiling. And then I routed the top end oil feed through the cam cover on the pinion feed as well. But beyond that, the cylinders were shortened 1/8 of an inch to get me a point of compression. I've got a Lineweber L3S cam in there. Thunderjet.
Damn, it's a performance chopper.
Yeah. Still in the break-in period. I think I've got about 300 miles on it, so we'll be gentle on the way to Virginia City tomorrow.
That's a lot of brake shoes.
A lot of brake shoes.
I forgot how long these bikes are.
Yeah, it's got a pain in the ass, I can be honest. To be honest, bike handling is definitely a weak spot.
Legitimately, every single shirt and product we've ever sold pays for each one of us to be here and our families in this shop. It is pretty insane to like as much as we can talk about what we do, it is like people have gotten us here. It does mean a lot to us, you know, all the people that have bought stuff from us over the years. And, you know, whatever else.
Buy more stuff. But yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.